Greetings, everybody. It's Jeffrey Guterman with the Strat-O-Matic Network, and I received a request from somebody uh, to show or explain how I score games. And I'm going to do just that in this game. I'm going to also include how I set up games. This game has been partially set up. Now, some of you, a very important disclaimer is that there is no one right way to set up games and score. And but this is my way. This is a way, not the way. Some of this may be tedious for those who know how to do all this or have no questions about this. But we have here the Chicago Cubs at the Atlanta Braves. So here are the two teams. I use the Form B score pad. And I put both teams on the sheet. I don't use one side for one team and then the other side for the other team. I like to have a full view of the entire game. Now, again, some of this is optional, but I'm doing a replay of 1968, and this is the first game of April 18, 1968. I keep at least 3 dates of games easily accessible. What I do here is, and this is very important to avoid overusing players, I list the players that relieved in the replay on the prior date, unless it was 2 dates ago. In other words, the question I'm dealing with here is to avoid using a relief pitcher for more than 2 days in a row. You can use them 2 days in a row, but not 3. And then I go back. In this case, these are the pitchers who pitched on the, and this dot denotes where the break off. These pitchers pitched on the 18th. None of them pitched on the 17th, so if I wanted to, I could use them. I mean, on the 16th, I could use them. It turns out that Carroll, Raymond, and Reed were used both on the 17th and the 16th, and that's why I've crossed them out. They're not available. What I do also here is in the bottom section, I write who relieved in real world in the game, and I get that through Baseball Reference. And here is the Baseball Reference website, baseball-reference.com, and you can go and find the schedule and the corresponding box scores for each and every game. And I use real world lineups, so I don't do plus injury at all, because the injuries are built into the replay because of the use of the real world lineups. And as you see, I know it may be hard to see this, but Ken Holtzman, Chuck Hartenstein, and Mickelson pitched, and they would all be available, including Hartenstein. for 2 games in a row. And Claude Raymond pitched, and you could see up here I crossed him out because he also pitched on the 16th. I like to put the team and, make it darker here by doing line around it. And I like to put their record and how many games they're behind in the fielding rating sections. So Chicago Cubs come into this 5-1. They are 1/2 game behind the Houston Astros. And the Atlanta Braves came in 2-5, and they are 4 games behind. I also keep track of wins and losses in a row for teams, and if it's significant, I'll put it down, but in this case, I didn't. I put the real world score of the game in the lower left here, so if you can see it, it's Atlanta 1 5-3. My next step is to put the starting pitchers, and you see Chicago, Atlanta, I put that there, so just so we know. Joe Niekro, and I put his record, he's 2-0, and Ken Johnson, I believe it's a Ken Johnson, we'll have to double check, 0-1. Now what we're gonna do, again, using Baseball Reference, is we're gonna first we're gonna take the Cubs and lay out the lineups. So it's Kessinger, Beckert, Williams, Santo, Banks, Lou Johnson, Randy Hundley, Adolfo Phillips, and Joe Niekro. And sometimes there isn't the player you're looking for. Here's Niekro. Sometimes the player you're looking for is not on the team, and in that case, click on Baseball Reference to see if they played on 2 teams and were traded, and then you can pull them from the team and put them on there. You can subscribe to the Baseball Card Viewer app by Strat-O-Matic. It's about $5 a month. I did that for a while for players who are not carded, but I quit that. And I use nameless players in some instances, rare instances. We'll pull the pitcher's hitting card. He's a 1 WR. I'm going to put the pitchers first in the lineup. And I like to put 1 WR. That way I can see he's a right-hander. If he's at the plate, there's no. I'd have to look at the card, and I'd have to look at his card, and it's just easier to have it here right in front of me. Then we'll put his fielding rating in. He's a 3 fielder. His error rating is 0. And this is for super advanced, although I use the advanced, not super advanced fielding chart. And his hold rating is a 0. So there's Niekro. Then when we get the catcher listed, we could put the quotient, and we'll put that right here. All right, thank you. And you're JB. Okay. Now we'll set up the Atlanta Braves. Again, looking at Baseball Reference. It's Felipe Alou, Sonny Jackson, Aaron, Torrey Mian, Clete Boyer, Darren Johnson, Sandy Valdespino, and it is Ken Johnson. And there he is. So we're lucky with that all the players are available, carded that is. And Ken Johnson is a 2WR, so we'll pull out the pitcher's hitting card 2. And we'll put Ken Johnson here. There's a Lou Johnson and there's a Ken Johnson. Although they're on different teams, I like to put the initial there. And the same thing, pitcher, put the position, 2WR. And this all becomes second nature. And his fielding ratings are 4, E11, and a 0 hold. And now we'll put in the lineups. And typically it's not, well, no, it's quite easy. I was going to say it's not easy for me to write this in with this angle, but no, it is fine. Now we look at Baseball Reference as we go along, just to be sure that we're putting in the right fielding ratings. So we start off with Kessinger, and I'm doing this very slowly. I do it, you put shortstop here, and his fielding ratings will go here, and he is a 234. Okay, second batter is Beckert. And he is at second base. And he's a 120. One E20. Now the outfielder, Billy Williams in left. We're going to put 3 ratings for outfielders. His fielding rating is a 3. His arm is a 0. And his E rating is a 9. That's how we do that. So we can just glance when you're trying to stretch a runner, see that he's a 0. Now Ron Santo, the third baseman. Again, checking on Baseball Reference to be sure of what position he plays. He's a 115. Then Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks. And he's at first base. And he's a 3-7. Setup takes a while. That's one of the things you just have to accept, unless you're using the computerized version, but I'm a card and dice guy. Here's Lou Johnson now. And he is playing right field. And again, remember, there'll be 3 ratings for the outfielder. He is a 3 range, 0 arm, and his E rating is 9. Randy Hundley, the catcher, he will also get 3 ratings. It's outfielders, catchers, and pitchers will get 3 ratings. He is a 1, we're going to put -3 arm, and the E rating of 5. And now you can add what is called, and this is for super advanced sealing, the quotient for holding runners on base, Necro a 0, Hundley a -3. You add those numbers, 0 plus -3, that makes Necro a -3. So anytime there's a runner on base for Atlanta, we can just look here and see that that's going to be a -3. Now Adolfo Phillips, he is in center field. And he is a 3+1 E9. 3 range, +1 arm, E9. And that takes care of the Cubs. What I like to do is just make sure that all the positions are covered. Pitcher, catcher, center, right, left, short, second, first, third. I don't do that out loud. But I like to do that. Now for the Braves. Leading off Felipe Alou, and I'm looking right at the cards to do this. Felipe is in center field, and he's a 2-1/8. Sonny Jackson is at shortstop. He is a 4.38. Hank Aaron in right field. There's a Tommy Aaron also. The way I do that is just plain Aaron is Henry. If Tommy comes in, I make it a 2, but I'm not going to put Henry every time. And he's in right field, and he is a 1-2 E3. Then Joe Torre, and he'll be doing the catching. He's a 3+1 E4, and the +1 gets added to the 0 for Johnson, so that makes him Johnson a +1 on holding runners. And again, if you're playing the basic version or the advanced version rather than my version of super advanced, this all applies anyway. Maybe not the E ratings if you're doing basic. Then you have Felix Millan, and Millan is at second base. He's a 218. Clete Boyer at third. He is a 110. This is a third Johnson. There are 3 Johnsons in this game. This is Darren Johnson, and he is at first base, a 3-6. Sandy Valdespino is in left field, and he is a 4+1 E8. And now the quotient we did the quotient for Johnson. Now we just double check. Pitcher, catcher, left, right, center, short, second, third, first, and we're all set to play. Now I wasn't quite sure of the person who requested if they knew this, so I'm going to just take out a sheet of paper and explain that when you score the game, you depending on what the outcome was, if the outcome had to do with a fielding play by one of the fielders, The fielding ratings are as follows. The pitcher is a 1, the catcher is 2, the first baseman is 3, the second baseman is 4, the third baseman is 5, the shortstop is 6, and then in the outfield, the left fielder is 7, the center fielder is 8, and the right fielder is 9. So that's the way that goes, and there will be a test, Kathy Harden, yes, at the end of this game. So you have it, and it becomes second nature. You memorize it because you realize it's 1 through 9, and the pitcher is first, and the battery is 1 and 2. And then you go around the infield, skipping the shortstop, 3, 4, 5, and then the shortstop 6, and outfield from left to right, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I don't know if people needed to know that or not. Now, something we have to do in Super Advanced is enter the ballpark effects, Atlanta, and what you do is you take this ballpark effects. Again, if you're doing basic or you're doing just advanced, not super advanced, you don't have to do this, but I do a version of super advanced. Ballpark slashes or singles, left-handers, it's 1 to 5 a single on the 20 die, and it's a 1 to 5 single from the right side. And as far as home runs go, it's 1 to 11 on both sides. And if that comes up, thank you, JB, I will go over it. I'm running a little low on coffee. So we're all set here, okay? We're all set to play baseball. Now, if you're broadcasting, you can use background. I use background, but that's really superlative. That is not really related to the playing of Strat-O-Matic, but I use different sounds which are not copyrighted. I use a dice tower. One of the reasons is because literally people my right from rolling like this thousands of games since the pandemic when I resumed Strat-O-Matic, I strained my arm, and so I find it much easier to use a dice tower now, much easier on the arms. As far as the dice used, you can use many different types of dice. I like to use dice that are very readable, meaning, you know, if I did like 2 yellows here, you know, that I want a good contrast for the dice. I'm gonna go get what's left of the coffee, and I will be back in just a few minutes. And I'm going to need, and I would appreciate anyone who's here to like this broadcast. That way it'll get more views, I think, and subscribe. And you can also become a member. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. We're going to start this ball game. Again, we've done the setup already. And as far as scoring and playing, I'm going to be reviewing every roll, every play, every decision. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now we're ready. Now this game will go at a much slower pace than ordinarily because of the scoring tutorial aspect. And I'm also going to be going over the super advanced play. What I like to do is set up, as you can see here, the starting pitchers. And I put them in the side that the team is on. So it's the Chicago Cubs, the visiting team, with Joe Niekro. And then on the right side, the home team, Ken Johnson. And I like to put this token, if you will, between them. And then I have easy access to it when I either hold a runner, I put it on the right side, because I only hold runners on first base, if at all. And then if I'm bringing the infield in, so there's no doubt, I put it on the left side next to the runner who was on third. And we are in Atlanta, and the Atlanta Braves take the field. And here's Ken Johnson on the mound. I'm going to try to keep the sound, the crowd noise low. And I recommend, for those of you who want to see clearly, certainly, definitely be using at least a iPad or a full computer. Of course, you can also watch it on a big screen via YouTube, because if you're watching this on a mobile phone, it's very hard to see. And leading it off is Don Kessinger. I put the pitcher on top and then the batters, the whole lineup, on the bottom. And here we go. Now Johnson is a right-hander, and we go Kessinger, switch hitter, batting left. Johnson is ready. Very good, JB. And here's the pitch. That's a 4-7, and we say left-handed because it's a left-handed batter, and it's a fly ball to center B. B can be ignored with no one on base. And remember what we said, center fielder is an 8. So he flies out to center, and there's one out. And that's it. Eight denotes the center fielder. Again, it was a 4-7 switch hitter batting left. You always bat the other side in Strat-O-Matic when you're a switch hitter, and it's a fly ball center. Now here's Glenn Beckert. And I roll the 20 die every time because there are instances which will come up where you can use this roll to resolve the outcome. This is a 5-7 right-handed. And that's another fly ball to center. Again, B, which means the runner on third tags, there's no one on, so we just put that's 2 outs. So 2 fly balls to Felipe Alou out in center and 2 outs. And here comes Billy Williams, left-handed hitter. And the pitch to Williams, 1-7 right-handed, another fly to center. And under it is Felipe, and the side is retired 1-2-3. You just see, then you just move the pitcher to his place. And we put a 0 for 0 runs. And after a half an inning, it's Chicago 0, Atlanta coming up. Now here's Joe Niekro. We're going to pull him out to pitch. He is the pitcher for Chicago, facing the Atlanta Braves. And here's Felipe Alou. The pitch to Felipe, 6-6 right-handed, grounds it to third. That's Santo, and he throws it to Banks for the out. And that would be, what would that be? It would be 5-3. Okay? That is a 5-3. And just looking at that, that means a ground out to third. Again, it was a 6-6 ground ball, third B. And third baseman is a 5, and the first baseman is a 3. These numbers become second nature eventually. That's 1 out. Here's Sonny Jackson, left-handed hitter. And again, if you're doing basic, you know, you don't have to be doing the lefty-righty splits. I do super advanced. There are some rules I don't use. Namely, I don't use the super advanced X chart, which I'm sure will be used today. I use the advanced because it's just so much easier. And we'll go through that when it comes up. So it's 1 out, nobody on. Sonny Jackson. Pitch from Niekro, 6-8, left-handed, fly ball right. And under it is Lou Johnson, and he makes the catch. Remember, the right fielder is a 9. And that's 2 outs. And here's Henry Aaron, future Hall of Famer, I would say. Pitch to Aaron, 2-8, and he grounds it to third. Again, Santo. Third base a 5, 2 Banks, a 3. Does anyone have any questions thus far? That's it, a 1-2-3 inning for Niekro. Both pitchers 1-2-3 innings in the first. I'm going to demonstrate the super advanced rules as they come up. On those, in that first inning, nothing really came up. They were just 3 up, 3 down. Well, leading it off is Ron Santo. Ken Johnson on the mound. The pitch to Santo, 2-9 right-handed, fly ball center again, 4 in a row. And Felipe Alou makes the catch. It's an 8. That's fluky. The first 4 outs are fly balls to center field for Felipe Alou on that 2-9 right-handed. And this B question mark in super advanced means that the runner on third has the option to tag. And in that case, what you would do is use the running rating for the runner on third +2. It's arbitrarily +2, and then plus or minus the arm of the right fielder. Here's Ernie Banks now. Johnson throws 3-6, right-handed grounder to third, and that's for Cletus Boyer. And he throws it to Darren Johnson at first for the second out, 5-3. Now Lou Johnson, the batter. 6-11, right-handed. Now here, what we have, 6-11 right-handed, it can be a very convoluted thing to be looking at. This first reading in super advanced, and I believe advanced also, is ignored. So this will be a single 1-3, line out short the rest, 4-20. You ignore this. In basic, I believe that you follow the ground ball short out. So it is a single 1-3, and as you could see, here's an instance where rolling the 20 die on every roll can save you from having to roll again. We go with the 14, and therefore that's a line out to short, and the side is retired. And I put a little dot here. This is something new I've incorporated to denote that it's a line out to short. Okay, you could, well, you're on a 60-inch. So I don't think I have to worry too much about zooming in like that. And that is another 1-2-3 inning. So that's the issue. This can be very confusing to see with this ridiculous triangle. But the first reading is ignored in super advanced, and we go with what's below it. And that was a split chance. So another 1-2-3 inning. And we move to the bottom of the second. Joe Niekro, the batter. Oh, that's good coffee. Oh. Yeah, you got it, JB. Anytime. Okay, Niekro on the mound, and Joe Torre leads it off. It's getting a little humid in here. I might close that front door and turn on the AC. The pitch to Torre, 5-5 right-handed, walked him. And for a walk, I put BB for base on balls. And this is our first base runner. So we're going to put a little slash right at first base to show that Torre is on first now. Now the question is, do you want Joe Torre to attempt to get the lead? What you have here, and I'm going to do this, just to show it, this is the super advanced stealing situation. This number 20 refers to if he has the lead, what are his chances of stealing a base? And the second 6 is if he does not have a lead. And the way we score it is he has to attempt to get the lead. The 6 is not worth going for. That's off the 20 die. So we want to, the only chance is if upon rolling the 2 dice, you get a 2, which is snake eyes, two snake eyes. Very minimal chance, but just to show you, he'd be a 1 to 20, not being held, because, and when you're playing solitaire, you have to wear 2 hats. First, we're going to say we're not going to hold him, because a ground ball plus, if being held, would be a single. And this is kind of complex, but in super advanced, only when the infield in a ground ball plus is a single, 2 asterisks. But I do both infield in and holding as a single, because it doesn't, the disincentive does not show up on the advanced fielding chart. So just to show you, he's a 1 to 20. They're not holding him. Necro is a -3, 1 to 17. And then I could roll the 2. But first you roll attempting the lead, because a 1 or a 2, and I have my own little sheet here, a 1 is a possible pick-off, and a 2 is a possible balk. And we're gonna first roll the 20 die, and it is a 15, so that does not come up. And it's in the rule book that if it did come up as a 1 on the 20 die, the possible pick-off is if the second number, and in Torre's case a 6, you roll the 20 die again, and if it's over 6, he is picked off. If it's 6 or lower, he returns back safely. That's an instance where the pitcher's throwing it to first. The balk, you look at the balk rating for the pitcher, and the balk rating is right up here. It's a 0, so that means it wouldn't be a balk. In any case, Torre now has a chance to get the lead on a 2, and it's snake eyes. And he does not get the lead. In fact, it's boxcars. I wouldn't typically try to do this, but I thought I would demonstrate it. Now Felix Millan is the batter. Again, it's Torre on first. Millan is an A bunter. We're gonna try for a bunt. Now I play the havoc roll, which is anytime there's a runner on base, you roll the 20 die, every time, and I roll it alone in isolation. And a 1 on the 20 die is a possible wild pitch, and you look at the wild pitch rating for the pitcher, and if it's less than or equal to that wild pitch rating, it is a wild pitch. A 2 on the single die is a possible balk or pass ball. You've got to roll again, because a 1, 2, and 3 is a possible balk. Just look at the balk rating. Less than or equal, it's a balk to the rating, and then a 4, 5, and 6 on this die as a possible passed ball. Look at the catcher's card, and that is the same thing. It's a pass ball if the roll is less than or equal, and this doesn't count, but you would then roll the 20 die. Maybe it'll come up in this game. But in this case, what we are going to do is we are going to roll the 20 die as Miana's going to sacrifice. There's the 20 die. It's a 6. Again, remember, a 1 and a 2 are the only ones that can lead to a possible walk or wild pitch or walk or pass ball. So now what we do is I like to roll first to see where the bunt is hit. And it's a 5, and that means it's hit to the first baseman, Ernie Banks, and he's an A bunter. Now we want to see if the infield is in or out. This is a house rule. 1, 2, and 3, the infield is in. 4, 5, and 6, it's out. It's in. He's a B bunter now. Okay? I do that because I don't want to penalize the defense every time by holding. Because again, a plus would be a single. In theory, if he was or was not bunting. So now here's the 2 die being rolled as a B bunter. And the outcome is 10 B. He pops it up. And we said it was to first base. And that's a 3. The 3 is a pop-up. I know I got bogged down in a lot of detail there, but that's 1 out. Torrey's still on first, and here's Boyer. That was a failed attempt to bunt. Now Cletus Boyer, right-handed hitter. Again with the runner on base. Here's the Havoc roll. 1 or a 2. It could be Havoc, but it's not. It's a 16. Here's the pitch to Boyer. Rolling all 4. That's 2-8 right-handed. Grounds it to third B. B is a force to second base. So that would be scored 5-4. The second baseman 4. We put an F over here to show that Torrey was forced out at second, and we put a slash here to show that now Boyer is on first with 2 outs. And if you're playing super advanced, you go with the ground ball results super advanced chart. And in this case, a ground ball B with a runner on first is a 4, batter safe, runner on first, out going to second, force play. Other runners advance 1 base. And I use this at times throughout the game because although I have memorized what it is with just a runner on first, because that's about the same as the basic version, when you have other configurations such as first and second, first and third, second and third, it's different. And if the infield was brought in, you look over here. So it's 2 outs now with Boyer on first. He's got the same situation here with a 20, but only on a 2 roll. We're not going to bother. Here comes Darren Johnson now. 2 outs. Boyer on first. Don't forget the Havoc roll. It becomes second nature when runners are on base. Only when runners are on base. And it's a 1. That's a possible wild pitch. Now, you look at Necro's wild pitch rating, it's a 3, and it's very simple. You roll again, 1, 2, or 3, and it's a wild pitch. And it is not a wild pitch, and we conceptualize that as it was kind of wild, but it was gloved by Hundley. And I also always like to say it's a full count now on DJ Johnson. And now we don't roll again because we had a Havoc roll. So it's 2 outs, Johnson on first. Now here's the pitch. That's a 1-7 right-handed, grounds it to short. And that's going to be 6-3. Again, assuming that you've absorbed, or you will eventually absorb what each fielder is. 6-3 to retire the side. And on a third out like that, 1-7, first of all, the plus here is ignored because no one was being held. The infield wasn't in. The A is ignored. That's typically a double play because it's the third out. So it's just a ground ball to short, and the side is retired. No runs, no hits. There was the first base runner of the ball game, and we've gone 2 innings, and it's a scoreless ball game. Lord, I'm telling you, let me just check something. I'm gonna make some new coffee and set it up for iced. And if anybody has any questions as we move along, please let me know. Gonna set up some iced coffee. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. This is the Strat-O-Matic network, and you are experiencing a tutorial on how to set up, score, and play a Strat-O-Matic super advanced baseball game, with the caveat that I don't use all the super advanced rules, and in particular, I use the advanced fielding chart rather than the super advanced. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. And Peter's notes, I play advanced, still a great game and much easier to play. And there's a lot of truth to that. And that's why I use the advanced fielding chart rather than the super advanced. I am brewing coffee. I just want to make a minor change here to see how much space I could have here. I don't think I have enough. So we are continuing this ball game. And Ken Johnson, we pull up Ken Johnson here. You want to be careful not to have the wrong pitcher. So here's Randy Hundley leading it off. Johnson has retired the first 6 batters in this ball game. And here's the pitch, 3-4. And again, we have that same thing with the triangle. It's ignored. It's single 1-6, line out short 7-20. It's a 19. It's a line out to short by Hundley, and we put the little dot there so next time we can say he lined to short. All right, I'm glad it's helping. Here's Adolfo Phillips. And we haven't had any singles or anything like that, so we'll see if that happens soon enough. And here's Adolfo Phillips now. 1 out, nobody on. That's 3-6 right-handed. There's a base hit. And we denote a single as a single line across and put him on first base. It's a double is 2 lines, a triple is 3, and a home run is 4. That's the way I've always done it. It's a single for Adolfo Phillips on a 3-6 right-handed, and that horseshoe there denotes a clutch situation. And that's super advanced. In a clutch situation, you would reverse the single to a pop out, and you can pick any pop out, any fielder. If it was an out in a clutch situation, it would be a single 2 asterisks, or as I like to call them, asteroids. So Phillips is on first, and he's a 1-15. Johnson 1-16. Being held 1-14. Again, that's enough for me to hold him. I don't need to roll the single die to see 1, 2, and 3. He's held 4, 5, or 6. He's not being held. I, as the defensive manager wearing that hat, I would definitely hold him on that. Now here comes Joe Niekro. Niekro is a 1 WR. I'm just going to have him hit away. Again, don't forget the havoc roll. And that's nothing. We're only looking for a 1 and 2 in that situation. Here's the pitch to Joe Niekro. That's going to be 4-7 right-handed, grounder to third B. So we know already. A grounder to third, that's a 5. B is the force out to second. We put an F here for the second out, and Niekro is now safe at first. Very, very simple. On a 4-7, right-handed, you see how I can easily, I could look at the pitcher's card up here, but it's just so easy to see here. And we do the force out. We know it is with just a runner on first, same as basic. So it's 2 outs, Niekro on first. Now, an interesting thing, Kessinger coming up to the plate, is if we pull out the roster, we can take a look to see if Joe Niekro has a special running rating. So we would look on the National League, and he does. He's a 1-12. How do you like that? There's Niekro 1-12. You see, these are all the NL pitchers who have special running ratings. Otherwise, it defaults to 1-10. And this would, in fact, I've already written it. Silly me. I've already written it running 1-12. So he is running 1-12. 2 outs, though. And Kessinger at the plate, switch hitter, batting left. Havoc roll. Pitch from Johnson. That's a 5-3. Switch hitter, batting left. Grounds, here's our first X. Grounds it to the pitcher X. And people ask me sometimes, why do you write that down, P here? That's because I'm 66 years old. Sometimes I might forget. So it's a 5-3 switch hitter batting right. And we look here to look at his rating. His range rating is a 4, and his E rating is an 11. We use the existing die to see if it will fall on the range rating, and it's a 1, and again he is a 4, and that's going to be a single with 1 asteroid. The point of this is, if the 20 die falls within the ranges allowed on the splits, in this case a 1, 2, 3, or an 18, 19, 20, you read the outcome here. If it does not fall, which would be 4 through 17, then we're looking at the E rating, not the range rating, which is the basic rating. So it's a single, we said 1 asteroid on a 1-4. So Kessinger singles, and we move Niekro to second due to 1 asteroid. So it's first and second with 2 outs. This would be a clutch situation. Now I want to show you something as Glenn Beckert is coming up. This is not related to Strat-O-Matic. What I have here is freshly brewed coffee, and I have filled my sink with a stopper for water. Hello, John. And what I'm going to do is I am going to immerse this into, is actually not quite enough here. Let me just continue to add some more. This is for people who don't plan ahead. And it works. Gonna just get that up good enough, because this is also hot here, the part where there's no coffee. Okay, that should be fine. I'm gonna put it right in the middle. And you can see it wobbles a little, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this glass on it. And now what you have is a nice immersed cup of coffee with full tray of ice cubes ready. And this takes just about 20 minutes or so, and then it'll be sort of room temperature, and then you can enjoy some iced coffee. So we'll just forget about that for now, okay? As that sits and immerses. Again, there's no one right way to do any of this. I like to always reiterate the great mantra by Baseball Demos: play whatever game you want to play the way you want to play it. Thank you, John. So Beckert comes up. This is a clutch situation. Now, what that means, and you always need to be cognizant, when you have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs, that in itself, runner on second or third, makes it a clutch situation. Now you look at the clutches. He's got a bunch of them. Those would be reversals. Those would not be singles. Those would be pop-outs, which suggests, here's a third one, which suggests a fourth one. He is not a clutch hitter. He's a bad clutch hitter. Okay, here's Johnson. Here's the havoc roll. Johnson trying to get out of this. And the pitch to Beckert. That's 5-3 right-handed, grounds it back to Johnson. He already let one get by him. That's going to be a 9-4. And there's a situation where it's not going to fall in the split range. You're going to look at his E rating, which is 11. You just pull it right off the card. And then E11 is right here. A 2 is a split. An error is 1-2, a ground out 3-6. 3-5 and 12 is an error. 6-11 is a ground out that would end the inning. So we roll the 2 die. It's 11, and he does. He throws a nice play by Johnson, throwing to first, and the side is retired. So again, it's a 1-3. The pitcher 1, the first baseman a 3, and the side is retired. There were no runs, 2 hits, and 2 were left on. And we have gone 2.5 innings, and it's a scoreless ball game. Okay, Necro comes out. Leading it off is Sandy Valdespino. No one is on base, so there's no need to throw the havoc roll. No need. Here's the pitch to Valdespino. That's 2-8 right-handed. That's a grounder to short. And there's one away. That's going to be 6-3. Very simple. Now Ken Johnson. I like to keep the pitcher's hitting card aligned this way, and I can read it. Necro and the pitch to Valdespino. It's a 6-10. We see he's a right-hander. 6-10 fly ball left, and that's 2 outs. That dot would mean that if he has reached fatigue, it would be a single 2 asteroids. But we ignore it as he's far from fatigue. His first fatigue inning is the 7th, and then any combination of 3 hits or walks, he reaches fatigue. This would be a fly ball to left, and Williams makes the catch, 2 outs. Now Felipe grounded to third in the first, 5-3. Pitch from Necro. 2-5 right-handed, grounds it to second, and the side is retired, and that would be 4-3. Second baseman is denoted as a 4, first baseman a 3. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. We've gone 3. We move to the top of the 4th. Ken Johnson on the mound, and my hope is that different scenarios will arise that will allow me to demonstrate both the scoring and the super advanced play. Here's Williams leading it off. He flew to center in the first. Pitch to Williams, 6-4 left-handed, fly ball center X. That's going to be Felipe, a 2-8. We don't look at his arm. We look at him 2-8. And he flies out because 16 falls on the range section, not the error section. He's a 2-8. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Center field, Williams, Felipe, 2-8, 16-2 flies out. And of course the A would denote a runner on first would tag, a runner on base. All runners on base would tag, but we don't need to worry about that with no one on base. That's 1 out. Now here's Santo. The pitch from Johnson. 4-8 right-handed. That's a grounder to short. Again, ignoring the A, the B, the C when no one is on. That'd be 6-3. That's Jackson. Throws it to Darren Johnson for the 2nd out. This is a tutorial on how to set up the game, how to score the game, and how to play the game. And again, this is not the way to do all of that. A lot of people sometimes don't know the difference between and the. Here's Ernie Banks now. 2 outs, nobody on. That's 2-7 right-handed, flies it to right. And under it is Aaron. And he makes the catch, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Ken Johnson. And this is looking like a typical 1968 ball game. after 3 1/2. Scoreless game. Here's Necro. Only Torrey's walk is the only base runner he's allowed. Sonny Jackson in 3 innings is the batter. Left-handed hitter. That's 1-8. Right-handed, grounds it to short. And Kessinger throws it to Banks, 1 out, 6-3. Again, the A and the plus are ignored with no one on base. Now here's Henry Aaron. 6-7, right-handed. That's a grounder to second X. That will be Beckert, a 120. Whoa. 17-1, and he makes the play. There it is, you see? 17. If it fell between 8 and 12, we'd look at the E rating, but a 17 throws him out, 2 away. And naturally, the flow of this game is slowed down since this is a tutorial. Here's Joe Torre now. 2 outs, nobody on. Pitch from Necro. 3-4, and he grounds it to short, A plus injury. First of all, we're going to do the ground ball to short. We're going to ignore the plus injury because, and I think I said this, or maybe I didn't, I use historical lineups. If you want to use the injuries, you can do so. And by the way, that retires the side, by the way. I hope I didn't cut this off. Oh, I did. It's on page 18. But I cut it off. I have a brand new. I have 2 brand new. You can use the super advanced injury chart. And we look at Torrey. I don't use this. He had 424 at bats. He just misses. So this could be, God, you know, I'd have to look this over again. Maximum injuries for 420 some odd at bats. Would be 60. And then you roll the 20 die. That's 6. And you get REM. And this is pretty shitty right here. That's a pretty shitty thing to look at. You could use the basic version, okay? I don't know everything, so I forgot how to do that, but I don't use them, okay? Anyway. Okay, we're moving to the top of the 5th. Ken Johnson on the mound. He has held Chicago scoreless through 4. Here's Lou Johnson leading it off. That's 6-7 right-handed. Double 1 to 5, single the rest. It's a base hit. So again, denoted by the single line. Again, 6-7 right-handed. Double 1 to 5, I'm sorry. And it was a 16, that'll be a base hit. Lou Johnson is on. Now Johnson is a 1 to 17 with Johnson was facing Johnson, by the way. 1 to 17, 1 to 18. Now this is worth doing. Yeah, you play it the way you want to play it, JB. So again, Johnson is going to try to get the lead here. He has no pickoff. After this slash is on the roll, he would be picked off trying to, he called picked off or out stealing. He has none, and he has the most common number of 7. He's 1 to 17 with Ken Johnson 1 to 18 being held 1 to 16. And we're going to try on a 1 to 16, 80% chance. A roll of 7. Rolling the 2 die. No, he does not get the lead. And as you can see, his 6 number is pretty bad. I just want to emphasize again that in this case, Lou Johnson, if there's nothing after the slash, that means on the attempt of the lead, oh, we forgot to do the havoc roll. And thank God it's because on an attempted lead, you do the havoc roll. So Johnson will simply be held on first with no outs, and Randy Hundley, the batter. Now, remember havoc roll. There you go. That's a 2. And I have my own little cheat sheet here. A 2 is a possible walk or passed ball. And we roll the single die. That's a possible balk. We just simply look at the balk rating of Johnson and it's a 0. We would have otherwise rolled the 20 die if his balk rating was 1 or higher. And it's smothered in the dirt. Full count now on Hundley. 6-5 right-handed, fly ball right field B. There's nobody on third. So that's what B stands for. So it's 1 out. We put a 9 for the right fielder. Now Adolfo Phillips, the batter. Johnson from the stretch. That's 4-7 right-handed. Grounds it to third B. Again, with just a runner on first, you can memorize this. But the grounder to third B is the force with a runner on first 4. Batter safe, runner at first out. So that's a force 5-4 because he got Lou Johnson out at second and Phillips batter safe. So it's 2 outs. With Phillips on first. I'm not really a big fan of trying to steal. Here's a case where you could see 9. When attempting the lead, a 9 would be he's thrown out stealing. You can call it, Baseball Demos calls it he was picked off. I say he got down into a rundown and was thrown out. I'm not a big fan of Adolfo Phillips being thrown out stealing and having Joe Niekro lead off the 6th. but we still look 1 to 15. Johnson 1 to 16. He is being held 1 to 14. I call borderline calls, and you'll see if a borderline call comes up. That's an intuitive process. So Phillips is on first, being held with 2 outs. And here's Necro, a 1 WR, havoc roll. Again, looking for a 1 or a 2 on havoc rolls. Pitch to Necro, 1-9, struck him out. And I don't know if you can read sideways. I can, no problem. And the side is retired. First strikeout for Johnson. And we're in the middle of the 5th in a scoreless ball game. Now Necro will take the mound. And Felix Mian will lead it off. Bear with me. I'm going to set myself up a pot of coffee. We're going to get through this game, but I'm going to take a little break here. I want to thank those of you who are coming on to watch this tutorial on how to set up, score, and play Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced Baseball. Actually, I could edit that and take out game. There we go. I want to tell you I'm a very anxious person. I have a lot of anxiety. Thank you, Kathy Harden. I have a lot of anxiety, and I just trying the best I can. I will be. By the way, this was our first strikeout, and I denote a strikeout with a K. I also like to number them so I can easily refer to what number strikeout it is for the pitcher. So this was a new scoring aspect. Oh, I wouldn't say JB is very nice. He writes, "This is amazing, being taught by the best. I'm sorry your anxiety is so high today. Thank you for this amazing video." You're very welcome. But JB, I got to tell you, I'm not the best. And my anxiety is kind of bad every day. And I'm just trying to manage it the best I can. I have my own ways to do that. I could do a how-to tutorial on that, but the problem is I'm not very successful. I'll be back in about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm Jeffrey Guterman, and this is the Strat-O-Matic Network. I am back, and I want to tell you something. First of all, I have set up a nice iced coffee for myself. It's a pitcher's duel. There's something called the curse of knowledge. I read it a long time ago, JB. A long time ago. Maybe I should reread it. Thank you, JB. The curse of knowledge, used often in, it could be used in the context of writing, speeches, and even teaching. And what that means is the curse of knowledge, the knowledge you possess, you may forget that the reader, the user, the recipient of your information also knows it. So the curse of knowledge came into play here when I put a K here and did not mention that I put Ks for strikeouts. And as you can see, I go for the simplest scoring we can do. Now, Joe Niekro, he's only allowed a walk. That's been the only base runner thus far, and Felix Mian will lead it off. Oh, that is good iced coffee. Oh. Okay, Niekro now. The pitch to Mian. It's a 4-6 right-handed, single 1-5. It's a 19. That's going to be a grounder to first. Nobody on, we can ignore the B. And the way I do that, a grounder to first, is 3-3. It denotes that it was a ground ball to first, and that's the 3 for the first baseman, and he took it to the bag. I go 3-1 where the pitcher is covering the bag on a ground ball out from the X chart, and that's just more of an aesthetic preference than anything else. 1 out, here's Cletus Boyer. Five, 6, right-handed, grounder to short, 2 outs. 6-3. And here's DJ Johnson, 2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the 5th, scoreless ball game. Pitch from Niekro. 2-9, chops it to second. Beckert throws it to Banks. And another 1-2-3 inning. He has retired 12 in order since the walk, which has been to Torrey, which has been the only base runner. We've gone 5, and it's a scoreless game. Here's Ken Johnson now. Don Kessinger, the batter. He's 1 for 2. Johnson has allowed 3 singles. That's it. Here's Johnson. 4-6, switch hitter batting left, fly ball right. Aaron under it, 1 out. Again, with runners on bases, we're ignoring the letters after the readings. If we just had those situations, we don't have many base runners today, but that's a runner on third tags on a 4-6 right field B. A is everybody tags, C runners hold on fly balls. And you pretty much can commit that to memory. Here's Beckert now. Beckert 0 for 2. He flew to center, and he grounded back to Johnson. And the pitch, that's a 2-11, a grounder to third. Boyer has it, and he throws it to Darren Johnson for the second out. Tell you, the pitching in this game. Billy Williams now. 2 outs, nobody on. 4-5 left-handed grounder to short X. That will be Jackson of 438. This could be trouble. 19-4, he throws him out, a pretty play. That would be a pretty play. And when you have a 4 getting him out there, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Ken Johnson, both pitchers really tough today. We're heading to the bottom of the 6th. Joe Niekro has allowed no runs, no hits, a walk, and no strikeouts. And Sandy Valdespino is the batter. Pitch to Valdespino, 6-6 left-handed, fly ball center. Under it is Phillips to make the catch. It's an 8, center fielder an 8. Now here's Ken Johnson. And JB, thank you for your donation. You're very kind. That's called a super on a live stream. Let's celebrate. Okay, Johnson at the plate. He is a 2 WR. That's 3-8. Grounds it to third. Santo has it. 5 to Banks. 2 outs. And now Felipe Alou. Alou 0 for 2. 6-6 right-handed, grounded to third. Again, Santo fires it to Banks. Another 1-2-3 inning for Joe Niekro. This is getting very interesting. Now we go to the top of the 7th. Ron Santo, the batter. The pitch to Santo, 3-4, right-handed, struck him out. And that's the second strikeout for Johnson. Now Ernie Banks, he's 0 for 2. This, by the way, is Johnson's second endurance inning. I neglected to mention that the 6th inning was his first endurance inning, and the rule is any combination, if they of 3 hits or walks, any combination of that would put him in fatigue, and then anything, if you keep him in, anything followed by a dot would be converted to a single 2 asterisks. So the incentive is to pull him when he's fatigued. 1 out. And Banks at the plate. Here's the pitch, 3-3, right-handed. That's a ballpark slash. So there gives us, you see that single with the solid arrow pointing down, 1 to 5 from both sides for right-handers and left-handed hitters. And we use the existing 20 die roll, which is a 13, meaning it would be a line out. Or a pop out, I'm sorry. And in that case, we can arbitrarily, this is one of the rare cases where you can arbitrarily pick who got it. So since he's a right-handed hitter, I'm gonna say it's a pop out to short, 2 outs. And now here's Lou Johnson. 2 outs, nobody on. Johnson facing Johnson now. That's 6-8, right-handed, grounded to second X. That will be Felix Millan, 218. 10-2. 10 on the 20 die. That means we're going to look at the E rating. And again, second base, you see, that's why I keep it there. I write that there. Millan and E18, and you can look here, E18, 2 to 6 actually, and 12 is an error. 7 to 11 is a ground out. This is with 2 outs, nobody on. E18, 5, that's going to be an error. It's going to be a 1 base error. The 1 in there denotes a 1 base error. And the way we score an error is simple. E dash and the fielder, which was Millan. And then what I like to do is I like to put a little dot down in the error column so that it's easy at wrap up to know. If there's an unearned run, I like to put a little dot in the pitcher's earned run section also to keep track. So Lou Johnson is on first and Randy Hundley the batter. Here we have another steal situation. Johnson 1 to 17, 1 to 18, being held 1 to 16. And we're going to try for the lead. We got to try something here. First, we do the havoc roll on attempting the lead. 1 and 2. Nope. Now we roll the 2 die. A 7 as he's got the lead. And he does not get the lead. And by the way, when you get the lead on that kind of roll, you have to attempt the steal. So it's 2 outs, Lou Johnson on first. Here's Randy Hundley. Havoc roll. Pitch to Hundley now. Wow, 1-2. Grounds it to second, and the side is out. 4 to 3. Again, ignoring the C because it's the third out of the inning. There were no runs. No hits, the error by Felix. He's a great fielder, but, you know, the best of them will make an error from time to time. We're heading to the bottom of the 7th. This will be Joe Niekro's first endurance inning. Joe Niekro has faced 18 batters. He's retired 17 of the 18. The only one who hasn't been out is Torrey, who walked. And Sonny Jackson, the heart of the order. Jackson, Aaron, and Torrey. Here's Necro. That's 3-4. Grounds it to third. Santo across the diamond to Banks. 5-3. 1 out. I could do a future tutorial if not enough things are brought out in the game. Here's Aaron. And the pitch 2-8. Grounded to third again to Santo. Again, right-handed pitcher. You got to always look on the correct side. 2 outs. And here's Joe Torre. Walked and grounded to short. Pitch to Torre, 3-9. Struck him out. And that's a K. And that's the first strikeout for Necro, looking as strong as ever. Oh my. We move to the top of the 8th in a scoreless ball game. Oh, bear with me a second. I'd like to read a comment. I did a video for a shout out video for Kathy Harden this morning, and GPuck 6331 replied, "Bless Kathy, she's a wonderful soul and great moderator who adds so much to the channel. No matter the time and place, time of day or place, Kathy is there. TV as well." Oh, thank you as well, Kathy Harden. Just thought I would. Oh, and I see Kathy Harden did a super. Thank you, Kathy Harden. My goodness. Okay, we move to the top of the 8th. Ken Johnson. Again, his first endurance was the 6th. If you're using him in relief, it would have been the 4th inning. It's a scoreless ball game. Adolfo Phillips leading it off. Here's Johnson now. 110 right-handed, struck him out. 3rd strikeout. You see, we just put a 3 there. And Necro will hit. And it seems we're not touching all the bases in this game. Maybe if I do another one of these tutorials, we might get more action. on scenarios, context. Okay, Necro at the plate, top of the 8th. And the pitch, 1-5, struck him out. That's 2 in a row and 4 strikeouts for Ken Johnson. Now here's Don Kessinger. Kessinger 1 for 3. 4-9, switch hitter batting left. Triple 1 to 18, and it is a 9. It's a triple. And here we just put 3 lines denoting a triple. Very easy to see. Again, it was a 4-9 switch hitter, batting left, handed against the right-handed pitcher. Triple 1 to 18, double 19 to 20. It was a 9. Now here's Beckert. 2 outs. Kessinger on third. That is a possible wild pitch. 1-4. You see, the 1 denotes a possible wild pitch. He's a 4, and it is smothered in the dirt and stopped by Torrey. He saved the run. Now the pitch to Beckert. 3-7 right-handed, grounds it to short. Jackson has it, and he throws it over to Darren Johnson, and the side is retired. So it's no runs, 1 hit, a 2-out triple by Kessinger. Only the 4th hit, and now here's where it gets very nerve-wracking, very, very anxiety-inducing. Felix Millan, the batter. And this could turn out to be a Harvey Haddix game, as there's no score. My God. Pitch to Millan, 6-7, right-handed, grounds it to second X. Beckert to 120. 14-1, he throws him out. Again, it falls within the split range. 8-12, you would have had to go with E rating. So that's 1 away. Now Clete Boyer, the batter. 5-4, flies it to center X. That's Adolfo Phillips, 3-9. Let's see. It's a 9-3. Again, a 5-4. Fly ball to center. 9. It's going to be an E rating, so it's not going to be a hit. And Phillips is an E9. Now we have to roll the 2 dice. E9-6. It's a 2-base error by Adolfo Phillips. We score it E-8 and put the error up here. Now the go-ahead run, the first run, is in scoring position with 1 out, and here's Darren Johnson. Necro looks in. Here's the havoc roll. Pitch from Necro. 6-7 right-handed, grounder to second X. Again, that will be Beckert, 120, 21. Ground ball A. And here's where you may want to look, because he throws him out, but with a runner on second, a 6. You see, you look, bases occupied, just a runner on second. It's a 6 under ground ball B. If hit to first or second, runner advances. So Boyer goes to third, And we score it 4-3. Becker to Banks. And here's Sandy Valdespino in a clutch situation. 6-9 left-handed. That's a shot hit into left center. And that's going to drop for a double. The first hit off Necro. And Boyer comes home. Oh my, there goes the no-hitter. And there goes the frickin' ball game. If you're looking ahead to the top of the ninth, it will be Williams, Santo, and Banks. Let's look at that again. Oh, is that heartbreaking. 6-9 left-handed double, and that double was as clean as a baby's ass. Now we denote, that's the first run of the game, we denote the run batted in right here. All this stuff at bats, runs, hits, I don't do any of that. I keep my stats separately in programs, but I do the RBIs here for when I'm entering the data. And now here's Ken Johnson, the winning pitcher of record. It's 2 outs. Valdespino with the big double. Got to do the havoc roll again. Pitch to Johnson. 3-11. Flies it to center. Under it is Adolfo, and the side is retired. So that was an unearned run. Automatically, any runner who gets on by an error and scores is scored as an unearned run. We put the U there, and for Necro, we put the dot there for the earned run. It was 1 run on the 2-base error by Adolfo Phillips. And then with 2 outs, Sandy Valdespino doubled. And Boyer came home. He had went to third on the ground out, would have scored anyway. What a shame. And now Ken Johnson comes out. Cubs down 1-0. A one-hitter for Joe Necro in the losing cause thus far. Johnson has allowed only 4 hits, 3 singles, and a triple. Here's Williams to lead it off. Whoa! That fell out of the tower. It counts. House rule. And it's a 4. Three-9 right-handed grounds it to second for Felix Millan. 4-2-3, 1 out. And here's Santo. The pitch from Johnson. 1-4. Right-handed, grounded to third. Boyer has it and fires it to DJ Johnson for the 2nd out. And Mr. Cub, in potentially storybook fashion, comes up to the plate with 2 outs and nobody on. Pitch to Banks, 4-9, right-handed, and home run, 1-11. It's going deep, and it's gone. A home run for Ernie Banks. Oh, my. Oh, my. Let's look at that again. It was a 4-9 right-handed N home run, 1 to 11 in both advanced and super advanced. That means N home run, that the batter has to have N power. That way someone who had no home runs or very few home runs would not get a home run, and that would be converted to a single. You bet, Kathy Harden. And it was 1 to 11, and it was an 8 on the 20 die. So we put the run batted in here. Now we enter home runs in real time. That was the first home run in the game. And again, you see it denoted by the 4 lines. And a run, by the way, is a circle with a dot. Just my own design. Now what I'm going to do is show you how I enter this in real time. I simply open up. So you see over here, I have the batters, the individual batters and pitchers stats. And I use, it's called numbers. It comes with the iMac, similar to Excel. And we look to Banks, and that is, you see he has 0 home runs. That is his first home run, and we just enter the 1 there, and that's it. It saves automatically. And what a home run it was to tie up this ball game. And if I'm okay, I will be more than glad to go over the inputting of the statistics after the game. Lou Johnson now, facing Ken Johnson. And now I can say that if you're looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, it'll be the top of the Atlanta order. Okay, Johnson is ready. Here's the pitch to Johnson. That's 5-2 right-handed, grounds it to first X. That's going to be for Darren Johnson. Looks like all the Johnsons are involved in this play. It's a 3-6, meaning 3 range, 6E rating. It's a 4-3. That might go through, and it does. It's a base hit. Again, 4, and he's a 3, single, 1 asteroid. No one is on, it doesn't matter. So there's your single with Lou Johnson and Randy Hundley at the plate. Johnson is 1 hit or walk away from fatigue. Holtzman, Hartenstein, and Mickelson pitched in this game in real world. Here's Ken Holtzman. I believe he's a left-hander. Yep. He recently died. And here's Chuck Hartenstein. They're both warming in the bullpen. Okay, Lou Johnson on first. 1 to 17 stealing with the lead. The 6 means if he doesn't have the lead. We ignore that because we're not going to try on that. 1 to 17 with Ken Johnson, 1 to 18 being held 1 to 16. Be nice if he can get into scoring position for Hundley to get the go-ahead run. You got to manage both sides. That's a whole nother topic. Making yourself aware of your own biases and thereby being fair. Okay, here's the roll for the attempted lead. It is not a problem. Now, it's not a 1 or a 2, so we move on with Johnson trying to get the lead on a 7. And he misses, doesn't get the lead. Here's Hundley. Havoc roll. Pitch from Johnson. That is 310, right-handed. Ballpark slash 1-5, and that's line to short. Again, the side is out. There was 1 run on the home run by Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks. A game like this is priceless. So they charge $80 for these sets, give or take. But a game like this is priceless. Again, just to show again on a 310 right-handed, that was I think it's getting hard to see there. A ballpark slash, that's ignored. And you go here on the ballpark effects for singles, potential singles, and it was a 7 outside of that range. Okay, we're in a tie ball game here. 1-1, bottom of the 9th, top of the order. And Felipe Alou is the batter. Pitch from Necro, that's a spinner, 5'8", right-handed, walked him. And again, BB, a base on balls. So Felipe is on 1-15, 1-12, not holding. Here's Sonny Jackson. We're gonna lay it down. First we do the Havoc roll, a 1 or a 2. That's a 2. It's a possible balk or pass ball. 1, 2, and 3 is a possible balk. 4, 5, and 6 is a possible pass ball, but then you got to look at the ratings. That's a possible pass ball. We go over here to Hundley. Here's a case where I got it because I don't put the rating there. Hundley pass ball is a 2. That means 1-2 out of 20, it's a pass ball. He gloves it and stops it in the dirt. Now we're going to go with the bunt by Jackson. And there seems to be debate over whether you do the Havoc roll again. But until I hear otherwise from anyone, I'm going to say no. And actually that stoppage was part of the attempted bunt. So here's Jackson. Here's where we go with the die. 1, 2, and 3. The infield is in. 4, 5, and 6, it's back. And if it's in, it'll raise Jackson's bunting from B to C. The infield is in. He's a C now. That roll is to find out where it was hit. It's hit to first. And here's the 2 roll. 9C. Oh, he fouls it off. A 1 and a 2 is the pitcher throws a ball and then batter fouls off 2 pitches. Offensive manager must decide whether or not to take off the bunt. If he stays with the bunt, and this reading occurs again, the batter is out on a strikeout. We're going to take the risk. That means it's a whole new set, and there will be a new Havoc roll. We roll again to see if the infield is in or out. Infield is back. He's a B now. That's better. It's a 4. Hit to first. B bunter Jackson. 6B defense. Batter drops down a bunt, and defense has the option of trying to get Felipe, and they 1-15, hit to first. They're going to go with a sure out. Wait a minute. Now I have a replay here to see, was it hit to first? I'm pulling out all the stops here because we want to do this right, and this happens to me sometimes. I forget where the ball was hit. Moderator, who adds so much to the channel, no matter the... Why is this? It would have been the fourth inning. Oh, Lord. It's a scoreless ball game. Oh, here we go. Whoa! That's... Potential singles. This is a possible bunt by Jackson. Die 1, 2, and 3. The infield is in. 4, 5, and 6. It's back. And if it's in, it'll raise Jackson's bunting from B to C. The infield is in. He's a C now. This is the second bunt. Set, and there will be a new havoc roll. Here it is. We roll again to see if the infield is in or out. Infield is back. He's a B now. That's better. It's a 4. Hit to first. Okay, so we find out it's hit to first base. Jackson. And on replays, I like to do it without any crowd noise so there's no confusion. It was a 6, and it's a defense, and that's going to be drops down bunt option. Compute the lead runner safe range as running speed 1-15 for Felipe, -4, 1-11, plus the fielder's defensive rating 1-11, 1-14. And I'm trying to think this through. 1 run or 2 runs doesn't matter. So we're going to try to get him, believe it or not. 1-15, -4, 1-11. And Banks 1-14. Again, 1-15, 1-8, 1-19. I'm sorry. 1-19 -3. No. Slow it down. Defense 1-15. To compute the lead runner's range, it's running speed 1-15, -4, 1-11, +3, 1-14. And we're going to throw it. It's going to be the first baseman, Darren Johnson, throwing to second to Mian to get Felipe. And he is out! Oh, what a throw. What a throw. It's a 3-4. And I guess you would call it a force out. And I hope you all got that. Okay. And that puts Sonny Jackson on first. And here's Henry Aaron. Either way you look at it, I think I'm going to intentionally walk Henry Aaron because 1 run It's one run, and it doesn't matter. Aaron is being intentionally walked. I'm doing the best I can here. Actually, no, I'm not going to intentionally walk him. Had I moved ahead, because that would put Jackson in scoring position. We're going to face the music. I can withdraw that because, and that's a house rule. If you didn't act on it, acting on it would be then having Torrey hit. We're going to face Aaron. We have to face Aaron. We can't intentionally put Jackson in scoring position. That is complete house rule. As long as I didn't roll for Torrey. So it's Jackson on first, Aaron at the plate, 1 out. Just replenishing the iced coffee. And it's only 11:13 a.m. Here's Aaron now. Jackson on first. He's a 1-18 with Necro 1-15 being held 1-13. Havoc. Where's my other die? Where the hell is my other die? There it is. Here's the pitch to Aaron. That's 3-9. Oh, he grounds it back to Necro, who turns around, throws it to Beckert for 1, and then over to Banks for a double play. We'll look at that. We're going to extra innings. Oh, my. Again, it was a 3-9 right-handed in a sea of trouble. 3-9 right-handed. Ground ball pitcher A. And that means with a runner on first, it's a double play. A, runner on first, 2, batter out, runner on first out, double play. There were no other runners on base. And the side is retired. We're going to take a break for about 3 minutes. As we move to the 10th, as far as the scoring goes, you have room for 10, 11, and 12. And then I use these for innings if needed. My name is Jeffrey Guterman, and Kathy Harden, I think, said it all. Oh my God, what a game. Oh, Lord. And please don't forget that this is the Strat-O-Matic Network. I'm going to take a super micro, Kathy Harden. And this one's going to be a micro to beat all micros. I want to explain something that, as a rule of thumb, when there's a tie ball game, when the pitcher comes up in the 9th inning or later, I pinch hit. I call it a rule of thumb because a rule of thumb means a rule that you follow with some exceptions. Now I got to work this very carefully, folks. This really is a super, super micro, Kathy. It may just blow in. Oh, that was so tasty. JB on the edge of your seat. Boy, I'm telling you, what you can get out of a super micro is unbelievable. We're heading, what's happening, Peter, is we're heading to the top of the 10th. So in this case, these pitchers are all each going to pitch a 10th inning, as neither has reached fatigue. We have Ken Johnson coming out. Now notice that in an endurance inning, his first endurance was the 6th, so each of these innings were endurance innings. When you have 2 hits or walks in an inning, it takes only 2 hits or walks, not 3, to reach fatigue. So we'll see how Ken Johnson fares. There'll be a hitter for Necro. That's a house that's a strategy. That's just the way I do it. So here's Ken Johnson facing Adolfo Phillips to lead it off. Adolfo steps in the batter's box. Here's Johnson now. He gets the sign from Torrey. That's a 1-6, and he walked him. And oh my goodness, Joe Necro is coming up. Oh my, he's going to bunt. He's an A bunter. So this would be a rare exception for having him pitch a 10th inning. After all, Johnson is pitching a 10th inning. Necro is a frickin' A bunter. If you're playing advanced or super advanced, ignore what the cards say here. See bunter, ignore that. And that's not even advanced game information. Maybe it's a super advanced rule. Every pitcher has a bunting rating. So here's Necro. And I like to do something a little different. I like to put Necro's card here showing, because he's denoted as an A bunter. And here we go. It's Phillips on first. Phillips 1-15. Johnson +1, 1-16, being held 1-14. So he is being held. And this could be confusing to some, but first we're going to do the havoc roll. Now we're going to see if the infield is in or out. The infield is in. He's a B bunter now. Let's see where it's hit. Three, it's hit to the catcher, and I say it's hit to the catcher instead of saying it's bunted to the catcher, because it could end up being a pop out. So it's hit, that's for announcing purposes. It's hit to the catcher. Now here's the two dice roll. A B bunter. That's a 2, and it's good. It's a dribbler hit to Torrey, who went to first, and we put sack here. Okay, so there's another rule that we were able to glean from this tutorial. It's Phillips in scoring position now. Ken Johnson on the mound, 1 hit or walk away from fatigue, again because he had 2 hits in the 9th. A base hit can win it. It's going to be Kessinger and Beckert giving it a try. Giving it the old college try. You bet, John, this is a heck of a game. This is a game for the ages. In fact, let me add it. It is already added to my special playlists. Okay. It's no hold. Johnson facing Kessinger. Havoc roll. The pitch to Kessinger. 5-11. Switch hitter batting left. Pops it up to second. And Mian makes the catch. It's 2 outs. And here's Beckert now. Beckert hit a 294 for 1968. That's awesome. This is a clutch situation. Pitch to Beckert. 5'8" right-handed, triple 1-6. And it is a triple by Glenn Beckert. And Phillips comes home. Wow. Second triple today for the Cubs. We'll look at that again. Here's the runs scored. And we put the RBI here for Glenn Beckert. And that's going to be it for Ken Johnson. Look at the roll again. 5'7", right-handed. Who would have thought? Wait a minute. 5'8", 5'8", right-handed. 5'8", right-handed. Triple 1-8-6. Single 7-20. And this was a frickin' 6 roll. And the fans are booing. But the Chicago dugout is very happy. That's going to be it for Ken Johnson. Little break in the action. Now what we do here is we put a slash across, right across there, to denote that the pitcher was taken out here. And again, we're looking for Atlanta. And all these people are not available. Carroll, Raymond, Reed are not available. It's going to have to be Upshaw. Absolutely. He just jumped right out at me. Cecil Upshaw will come in for Ken Johnson, who reached fatigue in the 10th. And can you blame him? Upshaw has no record. He's allowed 2 runs in 2 1/3 innings. So he got hit in his last outing. He's a +4. That'll be a +5 max with Torrey. Here's Upshaw coming out, taking his warm-ups on the mound. He gets a few of those. You hit, it's been, Demos, you've been mentioned throughout this. I've mentioned you several times. So you may want to watch this from the beginning. Play whatever game you want to play the way you want to play it. This is a tutorial on how to set up, score, and play Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced Baseball. Okay, Upshaw is ready. There is 2 outs. Do you have a game of the week, Demos? Because I sure could use one of your games this afternoon to help me with my anxiety. I really feel good about watching your games. So if you want to do a shameless plug be my guest. Here's Williams, Beckert on third. 2 outs. It was a 2-out triple, a clutch triple by Beckert. Havoc roll. And the pitch to Williams. Got to get him. 5-8, left-handed, grounds to second X. It's going to be Felix again. He made an error. 2-18, 18-2, throws him out, and that's a 4-3. Third out, the side is retired, and we place 1 run here, and what a game! What a game to see the Cubs come out. Now we have Niekro and Upshaw. Wasn't it something that Joe Niekro will bring Niekro down to pitch and win this ball game? Too bad they traded Niekro. History Maker Baseball at noon. We should be done by then. Is it live or is it Memorex? If it's Memorex, that's fine. That's just as fine with me because I've known you sometimes, I would even say often. Oh, it's live, beautiful. Nothing like live shit going on. Not your thing, but live, shit as in stuff going to his channel. It's Browning versus I Like Viola. It's not listed, and he does that sometimes. He'll just pull a live one, and he gets great engagement in the process. No matter what he does, he could start a freaking game. If you can find him, that would be a lot of fun. Bob B, are you with us? And we can all do that in jest. I've actually become a little fond of Bob B and all of his foibles. Joe Niekro pitching his 10th inning of this ball game. And it will be Torrey, Mian, and Boyer. Here's 2 Joes at it. Niekro starting his 10th inning. He has full endurance. The pitch to Torrey. That's 2-7. Oh, he grounds it to short. And that's fielded by Kessinger. Throws it to Banks. 1 out. Boy, did he whip that over there quickly. 1 down. And here's Felix Mian. Felix's error. Where was Felix's error? Shit. Didn't Felix make an error? Oh, no. Yes, he did make the error. Didn't amount to anything. Didn't cause any problems. Okay, Mian at the plate. Niekro and the pitch. That's 4-8 right-handed. There's a base hit to left for Felix. 2 hits or walks away, Niekro. And if something like that happens, that could be the tie game. A 4-8 single to left. And that can be used only for aesthetic purposes, thrown in by Williams. You use that if they're going to stretch. We haven't had any stretches in this game. That's why I think more tutorials will be maybe used. It's Felix on first. He's only a 1-13 stealing, so there's no chance they're going to even hold him. 1 out. Boyer, the winning run at the plate, with Mian on first. Pitch to Boyer. 210 right-handed, grounds it to second. And that's going to be Beckert throwing it to Banks, and Mian will advance. So it comes down to a clutch situation. And here comes big Darren Johnson. 2 outs, bottom of the 10th. Cubs lead 2-1. The tying run in one Felix Mian on second. And Darren Johnson steps in the batter's box in a clutch situation. And the first pitch he fouls back and out of play. 0-1 on Johnson. Okay, Niekro working from the stretch. Havoc roll clean. And that's fouled back again out of play. Niekro gets out ahead on Johnson. No balls and 2 strikes. Okay, Niekro now. Pitch to Johnson, 5-8, right-handed, walked him. Oh my. Oh my. First and second, Niekro, 1 hit or walk away. And there's action in the Atlanta bullpen. He is 1 hit or walk away from fatigue. And the batter is going to be Sandy Valdespino, the hero who knocked in the go-ahead run back in the 8th to make it 1-0, doubling home Boyer, who had reached on the very costly 2-base error by center fielder Adolfo Phillips. Sandy Valdespino, left-handed hitter. Okay, Niekro is ready. And the pitch to Sandy. 1-7, flies it to center. This should be the ball game. Under it is Adolfo Phillips, who is redeemed after that error, and the game is over. The final score, Chicago Cubs 2, Atlanta Braves 1. I'll be back with a recap in just a moment. Oh, I did not know that, Demos, that he only shows up in clutch situations. I did not know that. I'm pretty messed up, and I'm okay. Last night I was good. I was doing a biorhythm technique, a sort of a subconscious biorhythm technique to separate myself from the realities that are going on in the world. And I guess I can try to go back to that. Again, he was wild with that knuckler. Absolutely. I'll be back with my recap in just a moment. Well, that just about does it here for me. I'm wiped out and I'm a little paranoid, but I'll be okay. The final line: Chicago Cubs 2 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error. Atlanta Braves 1 run, only 2 hits, and 1 error. And it was a classic game. Niekro all the way, 10 innings, 1 unearned run, no earned runs. Again, only 2 hits allowed, walked 3, struck out 1. His 3rd win of the season for the Cubs. And to think that they didn't, you're very welcome, JB, that they didn't protect him, I guess, in the 69 draft, and the Padres acquired him. Then he played for Houston, I think, after that. A good pitcher. Not a great pitcher, but known as being, I guess, a good pitcher. I guess he had some excellent seasons, maybe, with Houston. I don't know. Johnson, it was a no-hitter for Niekro, by the way. And then in the bottom of the 8th, after the 2-base error by center fielder Adolfo Phillips, Valdespino came through with the first hit off of Joe Niekro in the 8th, and 2 down. And it was a double to bring home the run, so it was 1-0. And then leave it to Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub, to tie up the game in the top of the 9th with a home run with 2 outs. And then the Cubs got a run in the top of the 10th. Phillips walked. Niekro, hitting for himself, no pinch hitter, lays down. He's an A bunter. I think he converted to a B. Laid it down, a dribbler to Torrey. Had to go to first on the defense call. Kessinger popped out. And then with Adolfo Phillips on second and 2 outs, a triple by Glenn Beckert. And boy, did he wallop that a long way. Okay, there you go, Dan Port, on Joe Niekro, the star of the game. Other notables are is Beckert, of course, Banks and Beckert for their big hits. I enjoyed this ball game. I'm in no condition to put this game into the statistics. That's the way it is. As far as the scoring goes, I think it's a good idea to count how many hits manually and make sure that it coincides with what you had here. So, if you have 2 pitchers, there should be 7 hits up here on Chicago. And the rest, I think, is self-explanatory. This was a tutorial on how to set up, score, and play Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced Baseball. Yeah, Danny brought the no-hitter into the 8th. I was thinking, could this be magic? Cubs at Braves, and this was the second of a 2-game series. The Cubs won the first one 7-5 in extra innings. That one, by the way, I think it's worth showing as I'm rounding the end of my wrap-up. It was an extra inning game. It went 12 innings with against the Braves. They were tied at 5, and in the top of the 12th, the walk to Santo, the double by Lou Johnson. It was second and third, and then Randy Hundley with the big base hit brought in both runs. And the pitching wasn't quite as great in that game, but it sure was worthwhile. That one went, I think I said 12 innings. This one only went 10. And I think both of these pitchers deserve a pat on the back for a great game. What I like to do now in terms of setup is return the teams to their original condition. And I like to, this is just for the announcing purposes, I do very much like to do it with a flair. And to everybody in the Strat-O-Matic gaming community, stay strong, stay well, and I'll catch you next time.